2 in the morning, 3 knocks at my door. A sound I had dreamed of, but wanted no more. I knew it was you before I looked through the little glass window I once waited by for you. Your hair held the rain, your eyes held regret. You whispered my name like I might love it yet. You said, can we talk? I forgot how to breathe. You looked like the woman I had begged not to leave. For months I imagined you coming back home, but nobody tells you how strange hope feels when it comes. You knocked at 2 a.m. with yesterday in your eyes. You said that you were sorry, like sorry could silence the lies. I wanted to hold you, I wanted to run. You came back asking for love after the damage was done. You knocked at 2 a.m., but I wasn't the man you left behind. You stood in the hallway, hands shaking and cold. You said he meant nothing, you said you were wrong. You said every morning you woke with my name, but missing the person you hurt doesn't undo their pain. I reached for the doorway, not reaching for you. There are some things love wants that trust cannot do. You asked if I missed you, I could not tell a lie. I said more than I wanted, but not enough to die twice. You knocked at 2 a.m. with yesterday in your eyes. You said that you were sorry, like sorry could silence the lies. I wanted to hold you, I wanted to run. You came back asking for love after the damage was done. Maybe in another life I open up the door. Maybe I forget the nights I cried across this floor. But tonight I love myself enough to let you leave. You knocked at 2 a.m. I finally said goodbye. You came back with your sorrow, I gave you no more of mine. I still remembered loving you, that was the hardest part. You came back asking for my home, I protected my heart. 3 knocks, 1 goodbye. The rain kept falling, I stayed inside. the perfume I bought you that spring, as if one familiar scent could repair everything. You sat at my table, your hands around the tea. You looked at the pictures that no longer held me. You said you remember the way we once danced. You spoke about memories like asking for another chance. And every small detail was perfectly placed. The sweater I love, the old softness in your face. You knew every doorway back into my heart, but knowing where it opens doesn't give you the right. Your apology wore my favorite perfume. It sounded like the girl I once knew. It touched every memory I tried to remove, but love cannot cover what betrayal exposed. Your apology smelled like forever, but forever had already closed. You said I was stupid, you said I was scared. You said you discovered how deeply I cared, but all of your reasons arrived after him, after the messages, after everything I wanted to believe. The tears on your face, but tears cannot rebuild what dishonesty erased. The scent brought me backward, the truth kept me here. I can miss who you were without letting her near. Your apology wore my favorite perfume. It sounded like the girl I once knew. It touched every memory I tried to remove, but love cannot cover what betrayal exposed. Your apology smelled like forever, but forever had already closed. When you left that evening, the perfume stayed behind for hours in the curtains, like another kind of goodbye. Your apology wore my favorite perfume, but I finally knew what memory can do. It makes broken things beautiful without making them true. You walked through the doorway, the scent slowly withdrew. I love the woman I remember, not the woman standing in the room. By morning, the perfume was gone, and somehow I carried on. You said you changed. I almost believe that people can return different from how they leave. You showed me the letters you wrote but never sent, pages full of sorrow, pages full of regret. You said losing me taught you what love meant. You said every mistake had become punishment. I watched you speak slowly, no hiding in your eyes. And for one dangerous moment, I forgot about the lies. My heart said forgive her, my memory said wait. Love wants to reopen what pain knows should stay. I wanted to believe you more than I wanted peace. I wanted one good reason to let my defenses leave. I wanted your promises to finally become true. The hardest part of losing trust was wanting to believe you. You placed your hand near mine, but did not touch my skin. You said I know I have no right to ask you back again. That honesty hurt deeper than excuses ever did, because part of me still loved you under everything you hid. Maybe you are different, maybe every word is true, but becoming someone better doesn't make me safe with you. I wanted to believe you more than I wanted peace. I wanted one good reason to let my defenses leave. I wanted your promises to finally become true. The hardest part of losing trust was wanting to believe you. Trust is not a light switch, love cannot turn it on. Sometimes someone changes after the chance is gone. I wanted to believe, and maybe someday I will, but believing you are better does not mean I love you still. I could hope you found yourself without returning me to you. Sometimes forgiveness means I don't have to believe you. I hope you changed, I really do. I just can't build my life on you. I still loved you, that was never the doubt. Love was the reason I had to keep you out. You asked why feeling wasn't enough, why two people loving could not rebuild us. I said love was never the part that disappeared. I loved you through anger, I loved you through fear, but trust was a window you shattered one night. And love in the sunlight won't put glass back right. of your memory. I can forgive what was, but there are things even love cannot repair, because love can unbreak trust. Love can erase the proof. Love can make a wounded heart forget what it lived through. I can still feel something and know it isn't enough. Love can survive betrayal, but love can't unbreak trust. You said we could start over, like meeting again, but I already know what your silence can mean. I know how your phone feels face down at night. I know how suspicion can poison the light. I don't want a future where every delay makes me wonder which version of you came home today. That isn't punishment, that isn't revenge, that is knowing my heart cannot live there again. Love can unbreak trust. Love can erase the proof. Love can make a wounded heart forget what it lived through. I can still feel something and know it isn't enough. Love can survive betrayal, but love can't unbreak trust. Maybe somebody else gets the honest you. I hope you give them what I needed from you. Love can unbreak trust, and I finally understand. Sometimes love means releasing what you still wanna hold in your hands. I will always remember us before everything turned to dust, but memories are not foundations, and love can unbreak trust. I loved you, that was true. I left you, that was true too. You called me in November, 3 weeks after he was gone. Funny how my number still felt like somewhere warm. You said you missed my laughter, you missed my steady hands, you missed how I would listen when nobody understood. You missed Sunday mornings, you missed sleeping late, you missed every ordinary thing you once chose to betray. And maybe you meant every word, maybe every tear was real, but I could not stop wondering why lost taught you how to feel. You missed me after he left, after your new world fell apart. You remembered every good thing when you needed somewhere safe for your heart. You called it love, missed me after he left. You asked if I was seeing anybody new. I said that wasn't something that still belonged to you. Your silence lasted longer than anything you said. Then you whispered, I deserve that, and something in me bled. I never wanted vengeance, I never needed you hurt, but I refuse to become the place you return when someone else doesn't work. You missed me after he left, after your new world fell apart. You remembered every good thing when you needed somewhere safe for your heart. You called it love, I called it regret. You didn't miss me when you had me. You missed me after he left. You learn the difference between loneliness and love. One wants a familiar shelter, one protects the person it has. You missed me after he left, but I already survived your goodbye. I cannot become your second choice, because your first one changed his mind. Maybe you love me now, maybe that's your regret, but I needed that love before. Not after he left. You called again, I let it rain. Some lessons need an ending. You stood outside, I stood within. One wooden door between now and then. You called my name through painted wood, said you would fix whatever you could. You said please open. I touched the lock, my hand stayed there, but never turned. I heard you crying on the other side. I cried too, but stayed inside. Sometimes strength doesn't sound strong. Sometimes it sounds like saying nothing at all. The door stayed closed, though my heart opened wide. I loved you through the silence from the safer side. The door stayed closed, not because I felt no pain. It stayed closed because I knew I could not lose myself again. You sat there for an hour, I saw your shadow move through the little line of light beneath the door to you. I almost turned the handle at least a dozen times, Every memory said open, every scar said not tonight. Forgiving someone does not require giving them access to the life they set on fire. The door stayed closed, though my heart opened wide. I loved you through the silence, from the safer side. The door stayed closed, not because I felt no pain. It stayed closed because I knew I could not lose myself again. At 3 you finally stood. I heard your footsteps fade. I whispered I forgive you, too softly for you to hear. The door stayed closed, and morning finally came. The hallway lost your shadow, the room still held my name. The door stayed closed, and I survived the night. Sometimes love is walking away, sometimes love is locking right. One door, one choice, one heart, still mine. For a long time, I thought forgiveness meant opening the door and trying again. I carried anger like a second coat. It kept me warm, but made it hard to move. I replayed every message, every hidden name, as if remembering harder could somehow change the pain. Then one morning I grew tired of the wait and realized forgiveness doesn't mean another chance. I can wish you peace without becoming yours. I can stop hating yesterday without reopening the door. I forgave you without coming back. I released you without losing track of every lesson, every crack. I don't need revenge, I don't need us. I forgave you because I needed peace, not because I rebuilt the trust. I deleted the screenshots, I stopped needing the proof. The truth did not disappear because I stopped looking at you. I stopped rehearsing speeches I would never say. I let the anger leave me without letting you stay. Forgiveness is not permission, it is putting down the knife someone else left in your hands and returning to your life. I forgave you without coming back. 'cause I rebuilt the trust. You may never understand why love could not restart, but forgiveness healed the wound without giving you my heart. I forgave you without coming back, and finally gave myself what we lacked: a little mercy, a little space. I hope you forgive yourself someday, but that is no longer mine to ask. I forgave you without coming back. No anger, no return. Some bridges healed by staying burned. For one whole evening, it felt like before. Your shoes by the entrance, your coat by the door. I let you come inside just once to collect your things. A box of old records, a necklace and a ring. You laughed at something stupid, I forgot how good it sounded. For half a second, the broken years disappeared. We stood in the kitchen like two people still in love. That was more dangerous than anger ever was. We looked around the apartment, then looked at me and smiled. And suddenly my heart forgot the distance for a while. You were almost home again, almost standing where you belong, almost the woman I remember before everything went wrong. I almost asked you to stay, almost forgot where we had been. For one dangerous evening, you were almost home again. You held the old photograph we took beside the sea. You said we looked so happy, I said we really used to be. No bitterness between us, no courtroom for the past, just two people holding evidence of something that didn't last. Then you picked up the final box and everything returned. I remembered why the house was quiet, I remembered what I learned. You were almost home again, almost standing where you belong, almost the woman I remember before everything went wrong. I almost asked you to stay, almost forgot where we had been. For one dangerous evening, you were almost home again. Almost is a cruel word, it holds the door half wide, but almost cannot build a life on what already died. You were almost, then I watched you reach the street You turned once from the sidewalk, I stayed where I needed to be. I almost called your name, but silence saved me in the end. You were almost home again. Almost is where we end. Your call was gone. The room grew still. Almost love isn't love still.
I used to hate the thought of you loving someone new. Now I only hope you love him better than you loved me. I hope when he asks where you have been, you answer the question without making him ashamed. I hope when your phone lights up late at night, there is nothing hidden behind the screen this time. I hope he never learns the shape of suspicion, or how a quiet room can become an interrogation. I don't wish him my pain just because he has your heart. Nobody deserves to inherit the way we fell apart. I hope the next man gets the truth, the whole thing, nothing removed. I hope your love is honest, even when honesty hurts you. I hope he never has to ask which version belongs to him. I hope the next man gets the truth that I kept begging you to give. Maybe you learned from everything we lost. Maybe hurting me finally showed you the cost. If so, then give him what I can never receive, a love that doesn't require choosing what to believe. And if he gets the better you, I will not call it unfair. Sometimes someone pays the price for less than someone else gets to share. I hope the next man gets the truth, the whole thing, nothing removed. I hope your love is honest, even when honesty hurts you. I hope he never has to ask which version belongs to him. I hope the next man gets the truth that I kept begging you to give. Oh, oh, oh. I don't need to be the man you changed for. I only needed to know my pain became something more. I hope the next man gets the truth and never knows you like I knew. The hidden doors, the separate rooms. Oh, I hope when he gives you everything, you protect what he gives to. I hope the next man gets the love I once believed I had with you. Be honest this time, whoever he is, that is the a time I would have given everything to hear you say you wanted us again. I waited through winter, I waited through spring. I imagined your footsteps every time the doorbell rang. I wrote conversations we would never have, where you said you were sorry and I took you back. Then healing arrived without making a sound. By the time you returned, I had already been found. You finally became everything I needed you to be. But you became her after there was no more you and me. You came back too late, after my heart learned to close, after I stopped believing the light beside the road. You came back too late with the words I used to pray. I would have died to hear them once, but I survived without them anyway. I believe that you're sorry, I believe that you changed. I can see something different in the way you say my name. But I changed too while you were gone. I learned that loving someone does not mean holding on. Maybe timing is another way. Some relationships end, two hearts finally ready, but no longer meant to begin. You came back too late, after my heart learned to close, after I stopped leaving a light beside the road. You came back too late with the words I used to pray. I would have died to hear them once, but I survived without them anyway. If you had come that first month, I might have fallen at your feet. If you had come that first year, I might have called the pain love. But tonight I know the difference between missing you and needing us. You came back too late, but I don't say that with hate. You found the man you once had after he learned how